Hi, my dear children. Good morning, all of you. Today, I want to explain about 7th class, 3rd chapter, which is belongs to biology subject, that is animal fiber. Do you know, children, fiber? Fiber means a small thread-like structure is called as fiber. These fibers are getting from animals, so these are called as animal fibers. This is the topic. Okay, different types of fibers are there. Natural fibers are there, artificial fibers are there, plant fibers are there, animal fibers are there. Okay, let us see that. One day Neelima went to a flower garden to pluck flowers with her friend Reshma. Suddenly, while plucking flowers, Neelima shouted and started crying by seeing a caterpillar had crawling on her dress. Reshma quickly threw it away. Are caterpillar dangerous? Neelima asked to her friend. Reshma said, all caterpillars are not dangerous. Some are useful too. Do you know your dress is made up of something we get from caterpillars? Neelima was surprised and started thinking about how dresses are made up of materials obtained from caterpillars. She remembered studying about that in the class 6th. The fibers derived from plants like cotton, jute are made into fabric. So the animals also gives us fibers. What fibers do animals give us? Is the way of obtaining them similar to plants? Which part of animal is useful to make fabrics? Neelima asked questions after question. She wanted to get answer to all her questions. Do you know, children? We get fibers from plants and animals. For example, cotton, jute, gongora, aloe vera, coconut plant. Fibers are useful to make different kinds of fabrics. Your fabrics means cloths. In the same way, we get fibers of silk and wool from animals like silkworms and sheep, goat, camel, yak, etc. Let us find out about these animal fibers. See, in this, first one is story of silk. Once observed, children, making of silk or silk fabrics is a very interesting story. This involves various persons and efforts. To know about silk, Neelima visited a sericulture exhibition. See, sericulture. It is one of the branch in science. See here, people, they shared the following experience with Neelima. Since the first one is stall one. It is about story of silk. See, first one is in the first stage is moth to egg. This is the first stage. This was the stall where eggs and different moths were displayed. Second one, hello, I am Pratima, living in Dharmavaram of Anantapur district. My father works in a seed growing center. Do you know, we call the eggs of silk moth as seeds. Remember, children, here seeds means the eggs of silk moth. Next one, silk moth is like butterfly. Do you know children butterflies? Okay. It is a similar structure to the butterfly. We keep those moths in grill mesh boxes. Once observe this picture. See, this is a grill mesh box. They kept those moths in grill mesh boxes in separate rooms. My father takes care of those silk moths. We call them as chilakalu. Do you know children? Once remember, silk moths are also called as chilakalu. My father said another name of this moth is Bombax mori. This is the scientific name of silk moth. Remember, commonly silk moth also called as chilakalu, local name, whereas scientific name of silk moth is called as Bombax mori. Next one. At the time of laying eggs, we arrange white cloth pieces or paper. Moths lay hundreds of eggs on them. Nearly 500 eggs in one go and dies. Those eggs are very small in size. Remember children, in this paragraph, you have to understand silk moths lay hundreds of eggs, nearly 500 eggs after they are going to die. These eggs are small in size. Remember, that is very most important. Farmers from different places of our district come and purchase these eggs. Most of the times, my father allows these eggs to hatch in the special chambers, usually over mats or on beds of chopped mulberry leaves to get small worms. Remember children, here they have given chopped mulberry leaves. Chopping means cutting, making into small pieces of mulberry leaves. These are the food materials of silkworm. Farmers from Kurnool, Kadapa, Chittoor and some other places of our state come and purchase these tiny worms. See, eggs after it grows as small worms. These are called as tiny. Tiny means small worms. See, sometimes silk moths are also sold. People buy these silk moths to produce eggs. Why they can buy? Because the silk moths to produce eggs. These centers are called as grenages. What are those? Grenages. I saw a big seed growing center at Horsley Hills in Chittoor district. Neelima walked onto the next stall. There she met Rahman. Now we have to go to stall 2. Once remember these all points. See children, the seeds of silk moth are called eggs, or the eggs of silk moth are also called as seeds. Eggs are equal to seeds. Common name of silk moth is Chilakalu. Scientific name is Bombax mori. Big seed growing center located at Horsley Hills. This is in Chittoor district. These are the important points in stall 1. Coming to the stall 2. Egg to cocoon. How egg becomes into cocoons. Here Large trays with leaves and larvae feeding on them could be seen. Once observe this picture. See here, this is one of the large trays with full of leaves. Why they are keeping leaves? Because larvae feeding on them. Next one. Some trays had white and yellowish egg-like structures. Once observe in this picture. It's visible clearly. Here I am Rahman from Hanuman Junction of West Godavari district. We grow silkworms to get cocoons. We get 5 to 6 harvest of worms in a year. See, they will get crops 5 to 6 crops per year. Remember, it is important. My grandfather and father and my brother work on our farm. We have 2 acres of mulberry plantation. Here mulberry leaves are used for as food for silk moths or silkworms. My grandfather bought mulberry twigs. Twigs means branches from Palmaneri of Chittoor district, where sericulture is carried out. Do you know here sericulture? The whole process of obtaining silk starting from silk moth. This is called sericulture industry. We plant the twigs to get the mulberry crop. Twigs means here branches of mulberry plants. If we keep these twigs in the field, we will get mulberry crop. Mulberry trees will grow. My father purchased a tiny white colored silkworms from seed growing centers at Horsley Hills. We place these worms in trays. We chop mulberry leaves into the small pieces to feed them. Here chopping means making into small pieces of mulberry leaves. Chopping, cutting mulberry leaves. They are making them into small pieces. These worms eat leaves day and night. They need good hygienic conditions, proper neatness and proper light to grow. They require light for development of silkworms. When they grow bigger in size, we transfer the worms into big sized cane frames are called as chandrikalu. It is important. Chandrikalu. See here. After 30 to 35 days, the caterpillar stops eating and settles at a particular place. It weaves a net to hold itself. Here, remember children, it weaves a net to hold itself. By itself, it prepares a net-like structures. Caterpillar moves its mouth from side to side and secretes fiber-like substances. When it is exposed to air and heat, it becomes strong. The net is woven completely to cover the body of caterpillar. This seems to be a closed sac. This is called pattukayali cocoon. Do you know children here? They are using one more word. Cocoon. Common name is pattukayalu. My father said the larva of silkworm undergoes changes in the cocoon to change into a moth. After 2 to 3 weeks, young moths come out from the cocoons and fly away. So, we have to be very careful. Within 2 to 3 days of formation of cocoon, we started removing them from the tray. We kill the larva inside the process called stifling by putting a lot of these in a steam oven for 10 to 15 minutes. Here remember children, we should kill the larva inside. Otherwise, these are larva changes into cocoons after it can be changes into adult, then it can be fly away. At the stage of larva, we have to kill them. We should kill them. We have to collect fibers from the cocoons. See here, the cocoons have to be stifled to kill the larva inside, as otherwise it will cut its way out after growing into a moth and spoil the cocoon. There is no availability of cocoon. We do not collect anything from them. We will not able to get a continuous thread like silk from such a cocoon. Thus, we won't able to obtain quality fiber for fabric. Stifling helps us to store the cocoon for a long time. Yes, stifling means boiling of cocoons up to 10 to 15 minutes. So these cocoons are kept in the seal bags and sold at a cocoon market. Cocoon markets also available. If not stifled, if not killed, we sell them off within a week. My father usually inquires about rates of cocoons in the market at Hindupur, Madanapalli, Dharmavaram, Kadiri, Palamaneru, Raichoti. Okay, see, this is an important point. This is very most important. See, what is stifling? The process of killing larva inside. Up to a steam oven for 10 to 10 minutes, nearly 10 to 15 minutes. We have to kill those larvas inside the cocoons. Then only we will collect silk fibers. Or else you won't be able to obtain a quality fiber for them. See, apart from the mulberry, here one important thing is there, one subject, do you know? Apart from mulberry, Tassa silk, that is Desali Pattu, common name Desali Pattu, is produced in our state. Some species of silk moths that lay eggs on the Terminalia, this is a oak Terminalia plantation, produce Tassa silk. Here terminalia means oak plant. Mostly tribal people rear these kind of cocoons. Rearing means here growing, remember. Okay, mostly tribal people growing this kind of cocoons. This silk plantation is mainly concentrated in Karimnagar, Adilabad, Warangal, Khammam and coastal regions of East Godavari and Visakhapatnam. Okay, they are collecting this type of silk from them. Next one, stall 3, cocoon to fiber, the process of reeling fiber to yarn. See, this is a third stall. Third one, Nilima observed that some people were to boiling and stirring something in large parts. Once observe this picture. See here people doing something. What they are doing? People are doing boiling process and stirring. Okay. Yes, see that. They are observing locating ends of a thread of cocoon. See. See, this is located ends reeled into reels, reel onto reels. A person stood in the corner explaining about the process of obtaining fiber from cocoon. I am Sujata from Madanapalli of Chittoor district. I work in the reeling center. Nilima saw cocoons being boiled in the water. She was shocked and uttered, "Hey, what are you doing?" "We are boiling cocoons to get silk fiber." Caterpillar of silkworm spins fiber, which is mainly made up of 2 types of proteins. Children, remember, silkworm produces 2 types of proteins. That is, one is sericin and fibroin. This is very most important. See here, once concentrate. Sericin and fibroin. These are very strong. The cocoons have to be boiled to loosen the fiber to be able to reel it. A panic silk fiber from cocoon is called as reeling. It is important. Once observe. Obtaining silk fiber from cocoon is called as reeling. It is done with a special machines are called as reelers or twisters. Some machines are there. Those machines are called as reelers and twisters. Twisting. The silk fiber is carefully collected from the cocoons and nearly 3 to 8 of such threads are wound together to make a yarn. How to make yarn? Yes, see, remember that 3 to 8 of such threads are wounded together to make yarn. 3 to 8 fibers. They are making yarn from 3 to 8 fibers. This yarn is cleaned and bleached and colored. First of all, they cleaned. Second one is bleached. Is there any dirty materials they removed and they are adding colors. This process is called as dyeing. The yarn is ready to be woven into a variety of designed fabrics on looms. You can see the reeling centers at Nandikotkuru, Hindupur, Dharmavaram and Madarapalli, etc. Wrap of sari being prepared. Once observe here. Some people they are making saris. Yes or no? In our region, in Bodham, some people they are making silk saris. Okay. Next one, stall for reeling to weaving. Nilima saw a handloom at one corner of the exhibition and talked with the person displaying it. Namaste, I am Bhupati, belong to Dharmavaram, silk city of Andhra Pradesh. Do you know, children? What is the silk city of Andhra Pradesh? Dharmavaram. Remember, we weave silk fabric by using silk yarn on handlooms. For us, weaving is a traditional occupation. See, every person has their own occupation. For example, my occupation is teacher. Like that, some traditional occupations are also there. Here, weaving is a traditional occupation. Next one, we get silk yarn from reeling. Reeling centers to weave a variety of saris. For example, Venkatagiri Pattu, Dharmavaram Pattu are the famous types of produced by our state. Dharmavaram is very famous for its wide border and rich butta or dots. Do you know, children? Once observe our mother sari. Okay. When you observe the mother sari, wide border is there and rich dots are present. This type of silk sari is available in Venkatagiri and Dharmavaram. Remember. Next, here once observe this picture. See here, in Jamdhani sari on loom. This is one of the handloom. Means here human beings only made saris. That is a man-made loom. Those are called as handlooms. Okay, weft being woven over wrap. See here, Jamdhani sari. Here women made a Jamdhani sari. Here many types of saris are there. Different types of silk fabrics also available at different places. For example, Banaras, Kanchipuram, Dharmavaram, Narayanpet, Kottakota, Pochampalli are all the types of silk fabrics. They get their names from the places where they are made. You may have also heard the names of the Tassa silk, Monga silk, Kosa silk, Eri silk, etc. See, there are 4 types of silks. One is Tassar silk, second one is Monga silk, third one is Kosa silk, fourth one is Eri silk. These are all several varieties of silk. Some chemicals add strength to the silk fibers. Silk is used to make other products as well, like satin and crepe. We have both handlooms and power looms to weave silk. Since some satins are there, they are preparing, as well as they prepared crepe. See, Neelima was filled with wonder and delight about the fabric of her silk frocks. She tried to make a flow chart of the life cycle of silk moth. Try to help her. Once observe here. This is the life cycle of silkworm. Once observe. Once remember these all points. First of all, it was started from the eggs. After it's growing by eating mulberry leaves, they becomes into larva stage. Larva will be developed more and more. It becomes changes into cocoons. After it becomes a pupa, finally adult silk moth. That is called as imago. Here at the stage of larva, at the stage of development of cocoons, we should kill the larva inside the cocoons by the boiling process for 10 to 15 minutes. We should kill the larvas inside the cocoon. Then only we will get silk fibers. Otherwise, we won't able to get silk fibers from them. Okay. This is about life cycle of silkworm. Some important points are there. Once remember. The thread you get from the average cocoon ranges from 1000 to 3000 feet, and about 2000 to 3000 cocoons are required to make 500 grams of silk. See, that is about see how much miles of feet or than 1000 miles. That much length of fibers will be produced. Okay. This is very most important, children. Remember these all points. This is about life cycle of silk moth. Next concept is story of wool. Do you know, children? Next day, Neelima visited another part of the exhibition with her grandpa. The entrance was shaped like a big sheep. She entered through the stomach of the sheep into the exhibition hall. She was surprised because of she setting seemed to be a real Kashmir village. It is look like a real Kashmir village. There she saw different varieties of woolen cloths like sweaters, mufflers, hats, long coats, table covers, etc. There were models of different types of animals like sheep, goat, yak, llama, camel, alpaca, etc. She knew sheep gave wool, but why were the other animals displayed at the stalls? Do you know, children? Grandpa told to Neelima that wool is obtained from hair of all the animals displayed. It is also called fleece or fur collectively. This secondary layer of sheep is called as fleece or fur. Remember, this is important point. It is mainly a protein. Silk also produces protein, sericin and fibroin. Here, protein was produced by sheep. It was present in the fur. So here fur or fleece contains protein. Good quality wool is obtained from merino sheep. They were specially reared. The fleece is nearly 3 to 5 inches long and very fine and most valuable. A merino sheep may yield about 5 to 18 kgs of wool per year. See here, Grandpa, do you find any difference between hair of all animals? Certainly, hair of camel that lives in Rajasthan is not same as Angora goat that lives in Kashmir. Camels have rough and coarse hair. Under this rough hair, some animals usually have soft hair as well. Angora goat or the merino sheep have soft hair. Grandpa, where would you find sheep or goat that gives us wool? In Jammu Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, and Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat. They are often reared on large farms. Reared means growing. They are growing these all animals. More fur or more fleece is available. So Grandpa, what are they doing with that scissor? See here. Once observe this picture. See here. That is a sheep to cut fleece from the sheep. They removed fleece or fur. They removed hair from the sheep. During spring season, fleece of sheep is removed from its body using this type of razor. See, sometimes we are using razor for removing for our hair which is present on our cheeks. That is shaving. They are doing shaving with the help of razor. For removal of hair, we are also using razor. Here, razor is used for removal of hair for sheep or goat. This process is called as shearing. See, once observe this picture. Prevent damage to skin, grease is used. Well, Neelima, why is shearing done during spring season? Neelima replied, Neelima, come here. See this big water tank and a spade. Once observe this picture. Here. Here, shaved skin with hair is dipped in such tanks and stirred with a spade. Often, it may be washed under a stream of water as well. They washed under a stream of water, remember. They washed fleece of sheep and goat. This water contains some chemicals to remove grease and dirt and dust. This process is called as washing or scouring. After washing, cool air is passed over the wool which makes it softer. Grandpa, what are they doing? Why are they keeping heaps of fleece at separate places? Remember? Well, they are sorting coarse and soft ones as well as broken and long ones and making separate piles of them. Remember? They are separating long hair and short hair. Unwanted materials like twigs or bits of leaves, etc., they may be present with the wool are also separated out. This process is called as sorting or wool crossing. Fleece is the soft mass of wool. Grandpa, how do these woolen fibers get different colors? What is there in the tubs? Once remember, there are bleaches and dyes in the tubs. Woolen fibers are bleached, then dyed with different colors. They are adding colors to the fibers. The color fibers are used to make yarn. All fibers finally to make one yarn. These fibers then combed. Combing process, do you know? These fibers are combed. They make neat. They're making soft the air with the help of comb. There is a machine for combing or carding wool. Once observe here, wool is pulled through many teeth of the combing machine. From there, a machine rolls and pulls and it out into a thick rope, and still another pulls and twists it into a long thread. This is the process is called as spinning. Here once observe, spinning process is going on. See here, spinning. Here once observe it. This is done by machines. This is done by human beings. Here you can see it being wound on drilling spools as well. See here, once observe. From the fibers, they are making yarns by using machines. Okay, next one. Thus we get yarn which may be dyed before weaving. Dyeing means the process of adding colors to the fibers. Grandpa, how can I use those needles? What are they doing with the needles? Once observe here. See. Neelama, they are knitting woolen fabrics by using needles. Wool can be knit easily because it has a natural bend or crimp on it. See, by making knots with loops and rings of long threads of yarn, woolen fabrics are knitted. In addition to handmade process of knitting, hand looms and power looms are also used on which woolen yarn is woven to fabric. See, some members they are making this type of processes easily with the help of needles. That is called as knitting. Knitting. Remember it. Next one. Woolen threads are stretched from the one top to another top. Means here the woolen threads are stretched from the top of loom to the bottom. These are called as wap threads. Wap threads. Wap threads means threads are stretched from top of the loom to the bottom of the loom. The threads that go side to side are called as weft threads. Weft threads means threads that go side to side, this side and that side. That is called weft threads. My dear children, remember here wap threads, weft threads. Wap threads means the threads stretched from top to bottom. These are called as wap threads. Weft threads means the threads that go side to side. A shuttle like a big needle takes the weft threads over and under wap threads. One more important part of the loom is the harness. This is very most important, harness. Once observe this picture, the harness lifts every other wap threads so that the weft threads go over one end other than next. All types of yarn, whether cotton or silk or wool, etc., are woven in this manner. Remember, Neelma was surprised to see how fast knitting was being carried out. She sat near the man to observe and learn how to knit. Neelma purchased a book about woolen fabrics and a sweater for her grandma and returned to home. At home, Neelma made a flow chart to show the process involved from the obtaining wool to producing fabric. Once observe this process. See here, they have given in our textbook shearing, scoring, sorting, bleaching, dyeing, combing, spinning, rolling and twisting, weaving or knitting woolen fabric. See here, Grandpa asked Neelma to check and make corrections in the sequence. What corrections do you think Neelma needs to make? Once observe here. What is the first one? Shearing. Second one, scoring. Third one, sorting. Next one, bleaching. Next one, dyeing. Next one, combing or cording. Next one, spinning. After spinning, weaving or knitting. Next, rolling and twisting. Finally, woolen fabric. This is the main flow chart which belongs to this chapter. Is there any corrections? Just have to observe and make your own flow chart. Find out the mistakes and write a clear flow chart by your own. Neelma thought that silk and wool are also natural fibers like cotton. She wanted to find out differences between silk and cotton. Let us help her. See here, silk and cotton. Once observe here. Silk is mainly protein, whereas cotton mainly a carbohydrate called as cellulose. Do you know, children? Wool is a poor conductor of heat. Heat trapped in between the woolen fibers and our body prevents the flow of heat from our body to our surroundings. So we feel hot and are protected from cold. Woolen clothes are also helps to douse fire. Once remember, during winter season, this is winter season, we wear sweaters. Why do we wear sweaters? Because it holds the heat which provides heat to our body, so that we wear different types of woolen fibers, woolen fabrics, woolen mufflers, woolen sweaters, etc. Think why it is good to wrap a person who is caught in fire with a blanket. See here, once observe, my dear children, why it is good to wrap a person who is caught in fire with a blanket, to reduce the fire when we are using blanket. When we wrap a person with a blanket, to reduce the power of fire. This is a concept about third chapter which belongs to biology subject. Okay, children, just read this entire topic. If you do not understand, just send one message. I will clarify your doubts. But read this topic one or twice for better understanding. Remember this total concept. Okay? Thank you. Thank you so much for listening my voice. Thank you.